Hello and welcome back to the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and yes, I'm still shooting remotely. Hey, if this is your first time here, please subscribe, hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up for me. Very much appreciated. All right, today we're going to dive into the remainder of the season. We're going to look at the final 17 games, and I'm going to project out two scenarios, the worst case scenario and the best case scenario for these Knicks. And I'm recording this right after the Knicks beautifully handled the Los Angeles Lakers at home. Here we go. Wow. Julius Randle, what a statement he made last night. He basically came out to the Lakers and said, hey, you shouldn't have gotten rid of me. And if you were going to get rid of me, you should have gotten more for me, because that was kind of a slap in the face to just kind of let him go. Well, sometimes that happens. Now, the Lakers were without AD and without LeBron, but still, this is a team that beat the Nets recently. This is, these guys can play. I think they're 5-7 without LeBron. So, these guys compete. But we competed the entire game. They never let up. Even though the game felt a little close at one point, never really felt like the Knicks were going to lose this game. So, basically left us with 28-27 record, 55 games behind us, 17 games ahead of us. Here are the standings. We're in 8th place, right above the Indiana Pacers, right below the Celtics. If right now the playoffs happened, we'd play the Indiana Pacers in a play-in scenario where we would only have to win one game of two, and the Indiana Pacers would have to win both. Not a bad scenario. Better than being in 9th and 10th place, that's for sure. So let's look at the remaining schedule here. So I have looked at the final 17 games, and sometimes I make some decisions. I should kind of split games between the teams that they're playing against, whether it's at home or away. It doesn't really matter. I have basically the Knicks going down to New Orleans and losing the first game, because it's kind of a back-to-back with Dallas sandwiched in between. In this scenario, this is the worst case scenario. I have us losing the first two and then winning when we get back home, and we beat the Pelicans at home, then drop the game against Charlotte. Now that's another one. We have the game on May 15th against Charlotte that I have us winning. So it's either one or the other. Whether I just have these, in the worst case scenario, I have us splitting these two games. All right, and then comes the Hawks, which they're right above us in the standings. I think we match up really well with them, and I think we can beat them, no matter what scenario. And of course, the Raptors, we already handled them. They don't have much to play for right now, so I think we got them too. The Suns, they're on fire right now. And I don't think CP3 is going to let this team let up. So I actually have us dropping this game at home to the Suns, but picking up the Bulls game and picking up the first game on a road trip against the Houston Rockets. That road trip of death, the 6 games that takes us out west. And then we meet the Memphis Grizzlies, which in this case, the worst case scenario, I have us losing this game. Memphis trying to make a statement to basically, because that tremendous overtime win that we had, they give us a little payback for that. And the Nuggets, in this scenario, it's hard to judge where the Nuggets are going to be because they just lost Jamal Murray for the remainder of the season, which is terrible. I hate to see that. They were one of my favorite teams in the West. I actually had them upsetting everybody in the West and going to the finals. Now, that's not going to happen. But then we'll go to Phoenix, have us dropping that too. And the 2 games in LA against the Clippers and the Lakers, they're going to be prepping themselves for playoff mentality. I don't think the Clippers are going to want to lose this game. And the Lakers, they're probably going to have AD back by then, and possibly even LeBron. So they'll be at full strength. I have us losing that game. Then we come back home, and the Spurs, depending on where they're at in their situation, they may still be battling for positioning in the standings, and one win may make a big difference. So they may come all out, and they're a really good team. So, and we were just coming back from this long 6-game road trip. Our team might be still tired and might still be gearing up for their final 2 games against their Eastern Conference rivals. So I was losing that game, but picking up the final 2 games against Charlotte and the Celtics. So what does that mean in terms of the standings? The Knicks will finish 35-37 in the worst case scenario. This is the worst case scenario, but still in 8th place. So basically, the same as what we're at right now, which is with Indiana Pacers behind us. We'll play them in a play-in, which I think we can do it, and get that 8th seed. And unfortunately, we'll have to play against the Sixers or the Nets in the first round. So there you go. I mean, here's a little close-up of it. You want to see it up close. This is interesting. I mean, you can see how sandwiched in everybody is. Celtics and Hawks, pretty much the same record. Miami Heat and Charlotte, same record, and then we're right behind them. It's basically a mosh pit with those 5 teams, which actually is going to make some exciting games for the remainder of the season. All right, now, best case scenario. Boom. Okay. Once again, the same rationale. I have a split into 2 games with the Pelicans. We could easily win both, honestly. But I have a splitting these 2. I have us losing the away game and winning the home game. And I have us picking up the game against Dallas. I do believe that these Knicks can beat the Dallas Mavericks handily, actually. We match up well with them. And who knows? Kristaps may not show up again. He may not even play. And even if he does play, he may not really deliver against the Knicks. So I have us picking that game up and going on a nice little streak of 5 wins in a row. And let's see here. Yes, which takes us to the Suns game, which I still have us losing both games to the Suns. I just don't see us. I just don't see the Suns letting up. That's the thing. Just don't see them letting up. But you never know. It could be a split. We could win the game at home against the Suns. So. But right now I have it as a split. And we got the Bulls and again the first game against the Rockets. The difference here is I have us losing against Memphis, but winning the Denver game. Now those 2 games, Memphis and Denver, could go either way. We could either win the Memphis game, lose Denver, but I feel like we're going to split one of those 2 games. And then we have losing to the Suns, Clippers, Lakers again. But I have us beating the Spurs this time because I feel like if we're on a good roll, like we will be at that point, even though we will have dropped those 3 from the Suns, Clippers, and Lakers, you know what? By that point, the Spurs, they may not have much to play for. They may be firmly locked in their position in the standings. So they may rest some people, which we know Pop is prone to do that. So we may be able to pick this game up, and we're playing at home. Even though we might be a little tired, like I said, but still, we may rise to the occasion and close out strong. Tom Thibodeau has a history of wanting to close out strong. So then we win the Charlotte game and the Celtics game to bring us up to a record of 39-33. That's right, 6 games over 500. In 5th place. Actually, we might even be in 4th place in this scenario, depending on how it breaks out with the division. I think we're behind in our division record than the Celtics are. So the Celtics may get the nudge there and get the 4th seed. But either way, we play them. Doesn't matter. Whoever it was, it's just playing for who gets the home field at that point. I think it's a great scenario. I think it's a very possible scenario. Go up closer here so you guys can really see it. You can see here the Sixers and Nets again, 1st and 2nd. But Bucks, I don't see them going anywhere other than 3rd place. And there we go. So this could be good because I think the Knicks can take the Celtics in the first round. Yes. And then we move on. Then we move on to the second round. Can you imagine? We haven't been in the second round in the playoffs since 2013. We haven't even been in the playoffs in years. This will be exciting. It'll be a great way to cap off this tremendous season. It'll be fantastic, man. I really think it's possible. 39-33 is my prediction for the Knicks to finish out the season. That's the best case scenario. And the worst case scenario is 35-37. You know, I'm an optimist. I believe 39-33 is really possible, especially the way these Knicks are playing, especially the defense, the way we play defense. That's the one thing. Like, you know, we put out a max effort defensively every night. Yes, sometimes we make mistakes and sometimes we make stupid fouls that undermine our defensive series, but more often than not, we make the right plays on the defensive end, and if we just minimize the turnovers and hit that offensive, well, basically our defensive glass, because we need to keep everybody else off the glass. We can't keep getting out rebounded and shoot more threes. keep shooting threes. We've dropped a little bit. We were 6th most efficient. Now we're like the 9th or 10th most efficient in the NBA from behind the 3-point line, which is still pretty fantastic. I think we found our home. This team has settled into who they really are right now. I don't really think we're going to change much. No trades can be made. Only thing that can handle, can hurt us at this point are injuries. But everyone else is facing the same situation. So, Knicks, playoffs, 5th seed, maybe even 4th seed. That's my prediction. All right. Again, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit that thumbs up button. My name is George, and see you around the Knicks-Verse.